Everybody, thanks so much for listening to our podcast here on YouTube. Fire Breathing Rob, greatly appreciate your time today. And thanks so much. Definitely subscribe and check us out on our other platforms. Today, we have a special guest flipping the script from politics and sports over to music, which we all love. And this is from the great, I should say, bebop saxophonist. He's playing all different other instruments, which we'll get into in a minute. And this is Greg Abate, who's also inducted into the Rhode Island Hall of Fame. But he's world renowned. People know him all over the country, and he's performed all over the world. So, Greg, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the program today. Greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you, Rob. It's really nice to be invited. It's always nice to be on such great programs where you can talk to someone, astute as you, and talk about different things in one's life. It's always difficult to talk about yourself, right? But I try to answer your questions as best I can. And it's really nice to be here with you today. Thank you.
Well, it's also nice to talk to a person that's local, brought up from where I'm originally from in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And I do know your family, as one of your nieces did go to school with me. So that's great to know. And I definitely love to keep your name out and support you in any way I can. I've heard a lot about you, Greg. So I do appreciate that. But let's kick right into this interview, Greg. So there was that time, I'm sure, growing up in Rhode Island where you had that thought of being a musician and being a saxophonist in general. I know you're going to talk about probably in a minute that you play tons of other different instruments and know really what music is truly about. But can you tell the viewers as far as what got you into music? What was that moment that really got you into music and even specifically a saxophonist?
Well, as a young junior high school band student, I was playing clarinet, and I was made aware of the Dave Brubeck and Paul Desmond group, and I was drawn in by Paul Desmond on the alto saxophone with the Dave Brubeck group, and that gave me that incentive to really get into the saxophone, and that was one little aspect of it. But I've been drawn in from different aspects all my life since then, working with different musicians in alto saxophone players. So it's always, I'm amazed that love and passion of the instrument is still with me today. And I come to terms with it. That must be something that I'm just born with, because to have that for say 60 years of playing music and not getting away from it, it's just in me. That's my personality. And you mentioned about being an alto bebop player, but I also, for the folks that and as you respectfully would know, that I play I've come from a different line of genres, like rhythm and blues and funk and soul, and fusion and Latin music and all sorts of things. And bebop. I'm known as a bebop player, but I'm also versatile in playing flute and all the other instruments, that the reed instruments, and I love it.
Can we talk about? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Greg.
Tenor sax, baritone sax, soprano sax, alto flute, and I play piano, functionally piano, for my composition and my harmonic sense, to just see what things sound like.
Can we talk about the differences of, growing up in that different generation and how music has changed?
Yeah, for me, when I was a young, 13 years old, taking lessons, just learning how to read music and putting the time into the art form of being accurate with the time and knowing what one note is to the other, and having to make that timing perfect to make a sentence of music. That was when music was really difficult to learn and to work on. I think today it's like a shortcut and dumbing down. It's not as intensely respected in the art form anymore. It's not. It's not even music to me. Because it takes a lot of effort to learn how to play an instrument, to learn how music goes. And a lot of times, even today, I listen to these shows. I don't listen to them. I don't tune into these things, but you have those reality shows of,
Yeah.
The Voice and, Talent, America's Got Talent. But that's innocent, it's innocent, but it's got nothing to do with music at all,
Go back to, you talked about growing up and learning all these instruments when you were younger. Bring the audience back into your first performance. How old were you? How did it go? Did you feel those jittery jitterbugs running through your mind when you're going up on the stage for the first time? All these people are around you. What were the emotions running through your mind in your first performance? Take us back to that.
Well, insecurity, shyness,
Right.
doubt about myself. Am I going to be accepted? Am I going to play the right notes? Are people going to be, making fun of me? All those natural things I think that a lot of kids go through, as immature, because I'm a teacher too. And I know some students have trouble with their confidence, but that's what I felt. But I know that as I grew into music, being sincere about trying to play and to learning, if one puts time into it and really works at it, you shouldn't feel, you should always have confidence because you worked at it. So you can't really, you can't, nothing's perfect, but if you don't put the time in, you don't get that confidence. But back then, like you say, I was just learning. So the first time I got on the stage, I had these feelings of shyness. Will I be accepted? That sort of thing. Am I going to make a mistake? That's, and that was not making a living at doing it. I mean, I play music and I enjoy it. It's like a gift I have, and that's my livelihood. And a lot of people today, like you said, it's a different time. Some of the people I teach are students that are, their parents and their parents' parents don't even have an idea what jazz is. So how can they know? There's not the media. So things have gone way south on this.
Right. So let's talk about that. Now, you have played all over the world. Actually, before we even get into that, since you brought up about teaching kids and going up on stage now I know you said, obviously, as a young kid, it's tough to go up on stage or even speak in front of, quite a few people, not to mention thousands. What is the difference now? Obviously, you've performed thousands upon thousands of times. What do you tell these kids that you're teaching as far as when they go up there? Because they're going to be shivering and shaking when they're performing in front of these thousands or even hundreds of people.
Well, a lot of times I'll tell you, I'll tell them to just be, to be able to be prepared and know that you're going to be accepted, just be confident. You have to practice and be confident about what you do. But I'll tell you, there's some students that get involved in this and they don't have that. They go on with a group of people and they have more security when you're with a big group, like a concert band or a choral group. People can hide in there, they don't have to be exposed. But if you're going up as a soloist and playing solos, then that's when they really feel like, oh wow, I got to get up and go to the microphone and sing by myself. So there's a lot of them say, gee, Greg, Mr. Abate, I feel so shy. I don't want to get up and do that. Or I don't want to improvise because I don't feel like I can do it right. And I say, well, you're right. You can't do it right, but you can do it at your level. I mean, this is complicated music. I hope I can make it clear to you too, what I'm talking about. Rob.
Right. No, I agree. It is complicated stuff. And we
Yeah.
talked about this throughout the interview, Greg. It's not like you're just going in there and, you're in a studio and you're going up with this level, down with this level, playing with somebody's voice. These are instruments. This is not just some, I can auto tune it or, cut this out, put this in, and it's just it's done. This is complicated stuff. This is not just like a 2-hour project.
Yeah, what we're talking about here, to even go and do a discussion with people that aren't musicians,
Yeah.
I've done that. I've tried to do those workshops where I've gone and tried to explain to people that are listeners what happens in a group performance, what are the functions of the instruments. And many people, mostly all people, do not understand what the bass does, what the drums do, what the piano does, and what is really jazz, what's playing jazz. They think that things are all done, planned out, but it's not. It's all spontaneous, but it's got to be accurate, spontaneous with technique and knowledge of what you're doing. It's not just playing anything. It's really, really strange. I've done these a couple of times, and I'm amazed that the people ask me, well, why does the bass player only have four strings, and why did he's just? I didn't know that the bass player is playing in the harmony of the chord. They think it's just like plucking the thing, and it's nothing. You know, and you got minor, major, dominant chords, diminished chords, so many different chords. It's amazing.
Well, again, to end this question is, we live in this fast-paced world, a world that's focused on quick clicks on the computer, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. So everything's quick, quick, quick. And people don't want to sit around and learn an instrument. Like you said, you went back to a point that you made, Greg, how to learn a guitar in 4 weeks or 4 months or whatever it may be. Everything is quick, quick, quick. People don't want to take that time and effort and try to learn something through in and throughout. So I agree with you 100%. So people don't understand, how much there is to one instrument, to any kind of instrument, piano, whatever it may be. So people don't think about those things.
Correct. I agree with you. Sorry, I'm coughing.
No,
but like learning an instrument as a hobby is one thing. I mean, but if you're going to want to learn an instrument because you have a desire to be professional, for me, I didn't know I was going to be a professional when I was a kid. I just knew I enjoyed playing the instrument. And for me, I evolved into that every day, went into every week went into month, every month went into years, and it kept going. And to my point now, where I'm still learning, actually, I'm very, very still like a beginner, I think, in my head, because I there's so much to learn, and there's not a lot of time ever to do it all. That's the infinite part about it that people do not understand. They think once you learn something that you've got it, and you don't. You have what you have, but you're always room for more. So when I started to make my living at playing music, it was very difficult because I was out there trying to get gigs, calling people, doing stuff, sending tapes. I did a lot of work, and it just seemed like really, really a lot of work, and I just loved it to do it, But I also I love teaching, so I have a part-time teaching thing at a college, but that fluctuates because now with COVID, it's like nothing happening, But other people just teach and play gigs here and there, or they might have a day job as a lawyer, and they play as a hobby, but they don't have to learn like I had to, because they're not going to be going on stage and playing for people, all the time. It's just like a hobby. So you can learn an instrument in probably a year to play, but you're not going to play anything really complicated or anything.
So, Greg, we did talk about when you jumped on stage for the first time. So when did you feel like it? Was this something from a teacher, something from your family or friends, when somebody told you, hey, Greg, you're really good at this. You need to step it up to the next level because you could be a professional performer in this type of music?
No, never got that.
Okay. So how did you know then, Greg?
Like I said, I evolved into it. I would play in high school, and I went to College of Music, and then I went to Los Angeles and played with bands. Before that, I was playing in Providence area with bands. In high school, like my senior year, and then my first few years of college, I was playing in New England, playing with rock and roll bands and stuff. Playing, having fun, and making some money, playing at night in clubs, dance clubs, rock and roll clubs. And that was fun, playing in Boston, down in these, the theater district down there, they have a lot of rock and roll dance clubs at that time. in the late 60s, early 70s. Yeah.
So how has that evolved now? Because you are world renowned. I'm going to give you credit for that, even if you don't want to say it. You have been
Oh,
all over the world, all over the country playing now. You know, you're one of the top people in the world that do this. How has that changed from playing in, in Rhode Island, in even all over the country to now playing everywhere all over the world?
well, it's different that that people like what I do, and I think because they like it, it's because of what I've done in the past. It's like I like people, so like I've always liked to like play music, and they get a feeling of it. But now being in a different country or something, it's like even more rewarding to me because I play, and I'm thinking, well, gee, like when I was like 14, I was playing here, and now look where I'm at. I'm playing here, and like it's a sincere love for the music. It's not an ego thing, but it's hard to do this without, like, I don't have a manager or a booking agent, but I do have a recording company that I record for that's helped me out a lot. So but I don't know if I answered the question right, but it's all come to a head, like you say, but like I'm still trying to play better all the time, Rob. You know.
So let's talk about this. So playing all over the world and all over the country, what were your favorite places that you have played, or where are your regular places that you just really enjoy going to? And if you're on tour, you're definitely going to try to hit those spots religiously.
Well, every year I've been going to like regular places and then certain other places. Like I go to Ohio a lot. I play in all the different cities there. Like California, I go there. I've been there quite a lot. And let's see, Wisconsin, Chicago, Denver, like New York, uh, Boston, places like that. And even some obscure states like uh, Idaho, uh, yeah, Texas. I like,
Yeah.
but I mean, regular places. I'll go to Ohio and different places around the states. But then England and Wales are really good. I go there twice a year, like for a
Mm,
month 2 months at a time, like in
wow.
different, like 23 days in July and 22 days in November. And I'll go there. I'll go to Wales and I'll go to uh, like France and Italy, and I'll be going, Austria, you know.
So where is the big jazz population? I guess I probably shouldn't say that like that, but where is the big in the US? Where is that jazz area where there's that part of the country that really loves jazz music that when you go to these places, you're going to 100% get that full house.
Oh well, New York is like the jazz mecca of the world. It says, but like,
Okay.
if you're a big name, like
Yeah.
you can draw the big crowds. But like, artists like me that are,
Right.
known moderately, when you go to places that aren't big cities like that, like you go to a little village somewhere in England, and
Right.
you have people that are in that club.
Yeah.
There's like, say this 1,000, 2,000 people in one little village, right?
Yeah.
And they're jazz fans. You're gonna get a full house, and they're gonna bond with you. They wait, you come back, and like and then there's big theaters that play 500 to 5,000 people.
Mm,
I mean, you get those kind of audiences that go because they know it's going to be good, or they might know your name and they'll go, but they might not, and they'll still go because they want to be
mm.
involved in this good jazz venue that they know they're going to, like, probably because they've had a good track record with who they bring in. I meet a lot of new people that don't know me because I go to places that I've never played before, and like
Right.
people come because they have friends that know me, and they say, "Oh, you gotta come with me and see Greg," or something, like that.
Greg, do you feel like it's more rewarding to people that religiously follow you or somebody that just meets you? Like you said, you go and play at this club, you've never been there before. and because you're trying to find these new places to play, and these people, they never heard you before, but they enjoy jazz music. They take a shot, go over there and see you, and they love you, and they'll go out over to you after the show and talk your ear off and say how much that they loved your show. Is that more rewarding that you get those first timers, or the people that just religiously follow you?
No, I appreciate both, and
Right.
I don't think one's. I don't have an opinion of better or worse on that.
Fair.
I'm not. I just think that anybody that comes to the gig and wants to be there. Some people don't want to talk. They're too shy, or they don't feel like they want to. They don't want to bother you. People are very polite to say like, "Oh, you mind if I talk for a while?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And other people just like be all over you all the time. And it's like kind of like it's hard sometimes.
They're groupies, Greg.
Yeah, rippers.
All right, we'll go back into this.
Oh, I like Florida too, man. I like going to
Is that
Florida.
right?
To play Sarasota. I love playing there, and Port Charlotte.
Okay.
I've been going there to play in the jazz clubs. There's a lot of jazz clubs in Florida too, like all of established jazz clubs. Not like a jazz club in the city of New York, but like you belong to this club, and they bring
Right.
people in, that type of thing. They present shows and concerts. They might do like a certain time of the year, like from September through December, and they'll have like one concert every week or something.
So you do tour quite often. Obviously, with the COVID, you haven't been touring as much, which that's life in this country right now and in the world in general. But in the research that I've been doing on you for this interview, it seems like you do tour quite often. According to what I've done, you can correct me if I'm wrong, over 200 some odd days of the year. So with touring that much, what's your favorite part of touring, and what is the hardest part of touring? Because you're away from family and friends for quite a long time, if that's how much you tour.
Well, traveling is tough. Airports are hard, and also like to travel within the country, trains every day. It's you get used to it though, Rob.
Do you ever feel burned out, like maybe after 100 days or something?
Oh yeah, not that long, but I mean, I come back.
Right.
I mean, I get out there and I feel good coming back home, and then I recharge and I come home from 3 weeks in the England, and come home and then go do some gigs around here. Or if it's during the time I'm away in July, I'm not teaching in the school. So then, but in November when I'm in England, I'll have like a substitute taking my classes at the college, and then I'll come back and then go right to there and start teaching again. But I might have 3 gigs in Maine the next weekend, or I come back, but I'm on the train, my last gig in England, going to the airport, and then I come back home knowing that there's something else. And I'll tell you the truth, if there's nothing else coming up, I'm saying I might go get into a depression, because I've been so adrenalized and high, every day playing like every night except one night of the month. And then you come home and there's nothing happening. You sort of like, you crash. It becomes like kind of like a silent movie.
So how has the COVID been then? Because you haven't been touring. It's been quite a long time. This is like 8 or 9 months where nothing's really been going on.
It's been difficult because I'm used to it, getting used to it now. But I haven't played really. I played 4 gigs since March 13th. That's it.
Wow.
There was like 2 gigs that were live with no audience, and then there was 2 or 3 gigs with an audience, with a minimum crowd. So it's been really kind of revealing to me with my life in front of me all day, like doing stuff. I've been recording my new album. I did that with in New York, New Jersey since September. So I've been mixing that in another studio. So I've been busy with that. Okay, and I've been writing a lot of lesson things, etudes as they call them in French, and I've been doing some teaching online. but I mean, I'm not really making a great income right now, but I've
Yeah.
been getting through it. I've been getting by, and I'm wondering, with the help from like some unemployment and some government help, how
Yeah.
you.
As we're ending the interview here with the last few questions, any
Yes,
fun
sir.
story? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I said yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Any fun stories you can tell the audience about touring as we end the interview?
Oh yeah, well, touring is great because say you're somewhere in Europe or wherever, and you go and you you walk in and you meet the guys in the group. I usually play with people I don't play with all the time, of course, because they're all different countries or states, and that's a fun thing. You meet a lot of people, and like the people in the audience. Yeah, it's so great to meet people like that love jazz, and they come up to you and say, "Hey, I got your album. Would you sign it?" Or
Right.
so that's fun for me. I mean, it's really cool. I'm really grateful. I've had a good. I do have a good career. It's just like kind of stopped at the moment. But fun is traveling, meeting people, going to people's homes after. As a lot of people take me in as a guest, and I've seen a lot of people's families grow up. I mean, when you go to a place for 18 years, and these people they have kids that are like 5 and 6,
Mm.
and then 18 years goes by and they're 23,
Right.
and
They
I
grow up.
still, yeah, but I mean that's fun.
Right.
Travel is fun. I like to travel because it's like I'm sure you and everybody can relate to that, right?
Mm.
You go and you see a new place, so you just have a good feeling about it, right?
Right.
I
So,
think.
so I want to end with these last couple audience questions because I know you got to roll in a couple of seconds. So I'm going to get through
No, I
this.
have time. Couple of no, like, not a couple of seconds.
Oh, a couple of minutes. We'll roll through this quick though. So you have performed with a lot of artists, including the Ray Charles Orchestra. Can you talk specifically about them, but also what musicians have you enjoyed that you've performed with?
Ray Charles was like 1973 and 74, where I auditioned. I lived in Los Angeles, and I auditioned for that job, and I got it. And we traveled with Ray, all the European countries, and in Japan, and it was quite a nice uh, education, as well as traveling and seeing the world.
Right.
And I enjoyed playing with different people at different festivals, like. I played with Red Rodney. I played with uh, Elvin Jones,
Mm.
Hank Jones, Phil Woods, um, James Moody, Paquito Rivera, Claudio Aditi,
Mm.
um, Rufus Reed. A lot of all these different great players. The list goes on, Ron. I can't.
Yeah.
Just like I look at the list because I had to make a list once, but to
Oh,
put my resume, because just to say these are people I've worked with, and that's like hundreds,
right.
and they're all like a lot more famous than I was at the time, and and this so unique, as artists. That's one thing you're gonna as a jazz player or a musician, one has to like realize that you're an individual and you can't be anything else but yourself,
Mm.
and that's good because because in knowing that gives you a unique sense of being, because you can't knock yourself because you don't sound like someone else. Okay, a lot of people want to sound like someone else, and if they can't, then they get like, well, I want to quit. I don't like the way, instead of being unique. That's weird, huh? In music, but like, say you're a sports guy, or you're
Mm.
something. Say you're an auto racer or something.
Yeah.
So they have idols, right? They
Right.
they, they want to say, well, I mean, I want to drive like so and so, but they can't drive like that person, but they try to get to be like
Mm.
that, right? So that's what music is to me.
Right.
You've got to like look at the giants that innovated the style, whether it's like martial arts, sports, race car racing, uh, building a house. You know what I mean? You got all these techniques, right?
Right. So can we speak about, this is a person that's been very influential in jazz, Charlie Parker, who's had a huge impact rather on jazz music. He died at 34 years old. Greg, can you talk about what your opinion is of him? Was he really that great in the jazz world?
Yeah, he was, because he was an innovator. He created this new music after the swing period. You know, if you understand, like the bebop or slang, that was the term that they gave it. Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker, it came up with this bebop, which is like, that's nothing to do with anything that's written down in classical music. It's like a slang jazz word, like, hip. It's hip or something. It's like one of those things. But what was the question? Was yeah,
Oh
he
no,
was.
Charlie
He was.
Parker, and he
Yeah.
died at such a young age.
Oh,
Was he that great? Because a lot of people say that he was so influential on jazz music. And do you
oh yeah.
base any of your performances on his type of music or anything that he's done in the past?
Oh yeah, I play a lot of his music, and I
Okay.
play it like my way, and like it's like he was great, technically and harmonically, and on the instrument and sound. I'm just amazed that he had those demons that took his life so young. I mean, I was wondering about those guys that did like all the hard drugs and drank themselves to death. Why they did that when they had so much going for them? It's, it's very, very weird.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
sad
he
that.
was. He
Go ahead.
was. He was very. He was incredible. To answer your question, because I know.
No, I just wanted to end with this. We did
Oh,
talk about the coronavirus and how it's affected you and
oh,
everybody all over the country and the world. Is there any talk about, with the vaccines coming out, when you will stop performing again? Any dates right now that are set in stone? I know everything's kind of up in the air.
yeah. I don't have anything in stone for like next year, except I got tentative dates booked.
Oh,
For like especially for July and in November in Europe. That's it.
okay.
But everything else has been on hold. I've got some things in California in April, and then Texas in May. So that's still possible, right? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's really weird. I mean, I don't have any gigs right now until.
And Greg Abate here on Fire Breathing Ramen. Thanks so much for your time, Greg. Again, he is a world-renowned bebop saxophonist, and he was inducted in the Rhode Island Hall of Fame. Definitely check him out. And Greg, for people, again, that don't know much about you, where can they find more about you? Is there a website? Can they get your CDs somewhere? Where can they get all that stuff?
My website is my name, gregabate.com.
Okay.
Spelled Abate, A-B as in boy, A-T-E, gregabate.com, or you can go online, or you can email me, for CDs. I've got 23 different recordings, and you can email me, gregonalto@gmail.com.
Right, Greg.
GREGONALTO. GregOnAlto@gmail.com. I welcome anybody to keep in touch with me, and CDs. If someone's interested to call me to email me, I'd be very glad to speak to them and answer any questions, about CDs or just in general. You have any questions about our interview,
All right, Greg.
Cool.
Hey, thanks so much for your time. I do appreciate it. And thanks so much for coming on the program.
You're welcome.
Greg.
Thanks. You have a great holiday, and take care. Christmas. All right.